Hi, Chris parents. I know this is a really hard time for you and stuff. Me personally, I didn't really have a relationship with Chris, but I remember last year having English honor class with him, and then Miss Hughes was like, make a poem, and his poem was about cheese. And then it was kind of cheesy though. And then he brought like Cheez-It for everybody in the class. And he was just a down-to-earth person. He was really funny. He was really hardworking, and he was just a cool person to be around with, you know? And I'm sure everybody's gonna miss him. And although I didn't really know him, I miss him like everybody does. So I just hope you're okay.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Powers. I didn't really know Chris like that, but I go to your church and I visit and I see Chris, and I had class with him. And what I miss most about him is that when we were in class, and Miss Pratt used to be like, Chris, stop talking. So like every day now it's like really quiet in class, and I just miss hearing Miss Pratt yelling at him, although it was kind of funny. And I was just starting to really get to know him, and he was a really nice person, and he was really cool to be around. And I know everyone's gonna miss him, and I just want to say I'm sorry.
Chris, you were a really good friend. You always had my back when I needed to talk to you about certain things, and even though all we did was make fun of each other, I'm gonna miss you a lot. And every day when I get on the bus, I'm always gonna remember how you tried to trip me, make me bust my face every day, and I'll just always love you for it.
I remember Chris, cause like I grew up with him since like 5th grade. I knew this man for like 5 years. He was a brother to me, basically. I remember all the good times we had. We was up in music class acting a fool. We up in Miss Pratt class this year. I'm gonna miss him so much. He was such a good friend. I'm gonna love that man forever.
I remember Chris since like in 6th grade, middle school, and this year like Miss Pratt's class. Every single day is a new day. It's fun. It's gonna be so different without him. I'm gonna miss him. I love you, bro.
When I first met him, walked into the lunchroom, I dapped him up, and the first thing he said to me is like, hey, you got $1? And I gave him $1, and the next day, he paid me back, and everybody got upset because Chris owed like $1 for people for like 3 months already, and the next day they were hating because he paid me back. And I would miss his smile and stuff, because he was a chill person. I miss the sound that he always used to do. Most of the time at lunch, I just hang out with him. We just talk about just chilling, work, pretty much all that.
Man, Chris was a very close friend of mine. I've known Chris since 6th grade. Very close friend of mine. It's crazy to, just wake up every day and not know he's here with us anymore. I just wanted to let y'all know that he's always gonna be in my heart, and may he rest in power.
I remember when our church funded a trip to the beach. Everybody went, and Chris, he's always hype. He let me use his hotspot while we were going to the beach, and we were just sitting there having fun playing games. And then we finally got to the beach. We made food, and then we went out into the waters, and like everybody's having fun, and then a big wave came and overtook everybody and pushed everybody into the shore, and we're all just having fun and playing around. Then it starts raining, so everybody runs back under the cover, under the pavilion, and like we're all laughing, talking, and having fun. Chris was always there for me. He's always been there for me for 3 years since I first went to church with him. I actually got to know him, and he was a real good person, and he'll always be in my heart no matter what.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming into my life and being the amazing person that you were and will always be. And thank you for the giggles, the good times, everything. Thank you.
My favorite memory of Chris is when we were at church. I used to hold this AYS program, and I made them come up and say something nice about each other, and so happened he picked his little brother, and he said
this is my twin, you know. And then he was like, but I'm the cutest one or whatever. And yeah, his little brother looked up to him. And in our church, he was known for like always messing with his grandma. They used to tell him, Chris, get off your grandma. He couldn't stay off his grandma. But yeah, we miss you, Chris. Thank you for bringing all of us close, and rest easy.
My favorite memory about Chris is seeing him walking through the doors late. And when he walked through the doors late, he used to always make noises with the door. And it used to be so funny. And he used to always be hungry, always want gum, always want food. And his presence just made everybody happy. And seeing him around here walking, smiling used to always make me happy. And I miss him. And he brought everybody closer. Like me and Kenisha, we gotten sort of closer. And we love you, Chris. Rest easy. And I'll visit you over there because you're nearer to here, so I'll visit you every day. On your birthday, everything.
We miss you, Chris.
We love you. If it ain't foreign, then it's boring.
Chris was not only a dear friend in school, but if I lived closer, I feel like I would have been in their group more. I didn't really get to know him as well as others, but I feel like me and him had a special connection, and he would always bring a positive vibe, and he would never be doubtful of a situation. He would always look for the best in things, and that's what I appreciated about him. I feel like he's still gonna be there when we walk the stage, and isn't nothing gonna be different. I'm gonna miss him a lot, and like my friend said, he's a missing piece now, man. Nobody can replace him. I'm gonna always remember him, and he ain't gonna ever go nowhere. And I just can't wait to walk the stage with him.
Chris is someone I knew since the first grade. I grew up with him. In the 5th grade, we were on E-team together. And when I tell you he was a smart kid, he was a smart kid. I remember sitting across from him at the table and we exchanged looks like, you know that answer? I know that answer, let's buzz in. And we got to be in the newspaper that year because of him. He inspired me to keep being the smart girl. And now I'm in IB, and I'm gonna be graduating next year. And I graduated with him from 5th grade, from 8th grade, and we were supposed to graduate together next year. But now that's not gonna happen. And that just breaks my heart, honestly. But I promised his mom that I was gonna graduate for him because she deserves that. And I just hope that even though this terrible thing happened, nobody blames hold on. I need a...
You're crying too much. Come on. Let it all out.
I just hope that nobody forgets how an amazing person he was, how brilliant he was. And even though it's a terrible thing, we can't forget what joy he brought to this life. And we have to remember him for the good things and not the bad things. So just keep Chris in your heart. Don't ever forget him because he was an amazing person.
Speaking on behalf of Miss Magg's 4th period class, and Chris, for one, would never sit in his seat. Wherever me and Lorenzo went, Chris would be there. Even when Miss Maggs moved him all the way to the other side of the class, he would find his way over to us because, let's just face it, Chris was a rebel.
Miss Maggs always got at him for not doing his work fully. He would always turn it incomplete. And I mean, I can't lie, we all did it because it was last minute. Sometimes we did it in our class. And it was just the fact that Chris was a hard worker, don't get me wrong, but he slacked at sometimes, and more times than others, we worked hard on it, and he was just a good friend, a good worker all around.
Chris, he will always be sad when he wouldn't be able to sit with Matthew and Lorenzo. if he wasn't able to talk to them or sit with them, he would yell across the class to talk to them, and he would get in trouble by Miss Mag. So one day she just finally let him sit over by them. That he was on his best behavior since he got to move over there. Then it used to be me, Matthew, Lorenzo, and Chris in Miss Mag's class. That was good times.
And then on the Thursday before, everything happened, is when it was me, Billy, and Chris, and then Matthew wasn't here.
Shan.
He was, and Shan, and Matthew wasn't here due to he was sick. So we needed somebody to fill a part, and I was like, oh, let's get somebody. Let's just tell. We got all the scripts printed because he printed them, and we were like, just get somebody. So then he was like, no, I'm just act out 2 parts. I was like, how are you gonna do that? So he takes out a piece of wide world paper and he was like, miss, you got a marker, and then he just colors the whole thing black and then tapes it to another piece of paper and then just holds it up to his face. And throughout the whole play, when we had to perform it, the mustaches would keep going up and down, man. Even though he had to play with character, the mustache would go up on the wrong character, but nobody cared. He brought a lot of energy to the project, a lot of enthusiasm, and it was a fun project. I feel like we deserved an A to all the effort we did.
I would miss having you in Miss Mag's and Miss Pratt class. To me, Miss Pratt class was the best because when we would make jokes in Miss Pratt class while she was teaching, and you would always try to make jokes at Kevin, but Kevin jokes would be better than yours when y'all would try to talk about each other reading level. You talk about, oh, your 2nd grade reading level, and Kevin would be like, oh, your reading level is 0. And he was like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, oh, he's saying you can't read at all, and everyone in the class would laugh. Then when we would always make fun of you when you take pictures on Instagram in your car, knowing it's yours but saying it's not yours, that 1990 something Volvo, and be like, oh, I'm gonna pull up on y'all next year, and everyone in class would laugh when I would get at you about your car. But it's really sad that you're not here with us, but I'm happy that we have so many memories together, even though I used to always make jokes at you during lunch and everyone would laugh at you. But you knew I used to do it just out of fun, making jokes at you. And I will always keep our memories in my heart. And we will continue to have your legacy live on. And you definitely will be graduating with us next year.
I met him in it was Miss Pratt class. And he sat, I think, right next to me, and it was me, him, and Tone, and we all used to just sit there and joke around. Like, that's when we really started getting close, because we used to sit there and joke around, and we never had, like, we used to make fun of the one kid named Jonathan, and we used to call him Little Bill all the time. Man, we used to get at him every day. It was probably one of the funniest classes I've ever had, because I mean, yeah, he just acted a fool enough. And then this year, I had him in Miss Turner's class, and just going there every day since it happened. It's just not even the same. I don't even want to go in that bit no more. Cause like I can't do that. It hurts so bad. Cause like every time I go in there, it's like he is real deal not there, and he ain't gonna be back there. And then, I mean, yeah, and I'm not doing it no more.
Some things I want to say about Chris, some of the memories. I remember when I was doing a test for Miss Pratt in 7th period, came by. Me and him, we sat next to each other. I went to talk to him. We talked about how we was gonna plot against Miss Pratt to getting her back because from all the work she gave us. And that's one thing I wanted to share that I cherish the most.
A memory that I had with Chris was mainly playing basketball when I was around sophomore. We used to always get together in a group and play ball, and he would always be laughing and smiling. Something that always brought the team together. Another thing was every morning in breakfast, we would always crack jokes on each other. And he'd take it so lightly and just joke back, and he'd always be happy about it. And that was just who Chris was. That was one of the memories and impacts that he had in my life.
Hi, my name is Miss Scott, and I'm here to tell you what an amazing student I had. I truly miss him so much, and I want to tell you our first encounter. On the very first day of school, when I got down to Christopher's name, I actually said his entire name, Christopher Power. And so he raised his hand. I was like, do you know you have an amazing name? And he looks at me and like smiles. So I proceeded with the day. At the end of class, Christopher came up to me. He said, Miss, why did you say that I have an amazing name? I said, you have an amazing name, and I know you're going to be an amazing person in my class. He said, well, why? I said, because that's my husband's name. And he was like, and so he smiled. And so he says, Miss, I just need to pass this test. I said, Christopher, if you do everything that I'm going to tell you to do, you will ace the test. So to make a long story short, one day Chris came in and he was sitting at the table where I used to have a table where if you pass, that's where you sat at. And then once you pass, you get to write your name on my board on this little paper that I had on my back wall, say I passed my test. Well, I didn't know that he passed, so he came, he sat at that table, so I'm taking attendance and getting ready to teach my lesson. And I look over, and he's sitting at that table. So I stopped, I said, Christopher, that's not your seat. He was like, yes, ma'am, it's my seat. So then he says, I passed my test. And so I jumped up and did this whole big dance for my first period class and told him to go sign, and he went over there and signed his name on the wall. It just brings me great joy when my students pass that test. I am sad by all of this, but Mr. and Miss Powell, I want you to know that you did an amazing job with Christopher and Matthew. I had the pleasure of having Matthew in my class as well. And we're all gonna truly miss him. One thing about it though, God only comes for the best. He takes the best angels and take them back with him.
I knew Chris like a while back. I knew him since like 25 cents to Lean Bay. This year, like me and Chris had like Mr. Sardina's class, second period for Spanish. And like that was like one of the funnest classes that I had with him. We would always like be playing around, like we really don't like know Spanish like that, but we always get like a good grade. We always used to rely on a friend Lorenzo. If you don't have the answers, then you're gonna have to find somebody that has it. And what we used to do over there, we used to just be like roasting each other. Like he always used to make fun of me, I used to make fun of him. It was just a good time. Like Chris, he would like bring like joy to like a classroom, like anywhere he goes. Like he would have a squad with him. So he would like usually make things fun, so I like to like dedicate this to like Chris, because like without him, like people wouldn't be like just people that you wouldn't know without Chris, because he would bring a lot of people, like, and then that really means a lot, because if you were down, like you could talk to Chris, like, and he could like help you.
Chris in 6th grade, that's where I first met him. And then from that point, we've been going through the years with each other. 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th year. But this year was like the most funnest year for all of us, because we'd always just joke around and stuff. And then we had our breakfast group. And like in the morning, we just all rip on each other.
And we'd always tell Chris how he'd come to school riding on his cheetah and all that. And Chris was just an amazing person. He just brought joy to everybody. Like every day, Chris would always try to show somebody a new song. Even though the song was trash, you just listen to it just to make him feel better, so he think that he's doing something. And like every day, like I'd see him going to a period, and then I'd dap him up and we just talk about Village 7 and how he had a little countdown to get his license. I think it was like in May when he was getting it, and then he was talking about how he was just gonna pull up on everybody with his car and do all that. But like, he was just a great person. He brought a positive vibe to everybody. And now that he's gone, it's just like, it's the emptiness. Every time I walk in the hallway, I look to the right and then I don't see him no more, and it's like, damn, he really gone. And like, he was just always there for everybody, and we just gonna miss him. And then his family, they inspire me because they're so strong when it happened, and they just opened my eyes and like, God, he's really with you and he's gonna take care of you. Like if they need anything at all, I'm here for them. They could just give me a call whenever, anytime. And we're gonna miss him. He was really like a brother to us.
Every day at my house, and man, I always thought he was just a baller. He used to call himself Chef Chris. Always trying to take somebody in or something. But every time after he says it, he tries taking a shot, he airballs and just turns around and like nothing happens. And I don't know why every day he wears like a jacket. And it'd be hot too, by like 90 degrees or almost 100. Even like it's fine, but when we start playing basketball, that man's just dying. He'd be sweating up, just like a whole pool. Like 3 minutes, that man just be tired, he's done, he's out of breath. And that man's just so tall. I mean, like we're about the same height. I didn't know like he was gonna grow up, be taller than me. Now everybody looks down on me. And man used to joke about that all the time, saying I'm gonna get bigger than you one day. I ain't believe it. But this year, I look up to the man now. Sixth grade, he had a little mohawk now. And he didn't know, like, cause nobody told him how I looked on him. But when you look back in the yearbook, that was just the funniest thing ever. The man kept on talking, like snapping on us, saying, "Why ain't y'all tell me?" Cause he always thought that he looked ugly with on. But back then he thought like he was looking good and that he was everything. But when he noticed it now, he was just mad. He said, "Y'all left me all year with that. All my age, y'all ain't tell me nothing." It was hilarious. But usually, like ever since 6th grade, like after every day, we just come to my house with Twan and Joel and just play basketball. 8th grade, that's when we had met a new friend. His name is Juan. After that, we all started getting closer and closer every day. There's never one day of the week ever since then that we have not chilled together. He's always trying to do something.
We all started in Lake Marion Creek Elementary School together, and that's where we all came together. We all started in the same spot. Yeah, a lot of good memories from Lake Marion. We were all the hooligans of the school, getting into all types of trouble. And then we all graduated from there, and we moved on to Dundee Ridge Middle School. That place was terrible, but Chris made that place a lot better because he was just such a joyful person. He would do all types of crazy stuff. I mean, I remember in music class, we were always in the locker rooms, just messing around, getting into trouble. Like, I'm pretty sure the teacher hated us, but everyone loved Chris. Because he's just a person that you can't help it. You have to love him, because he's gonna make you smile one way or the other. And then we all moved on from Dundee, and we all went to Haines City High School, where we are today, where we're all supposed to walk across the stage together, but unfortunately we won't be able to do that. But even though his body won't be walking across, his spirit will be walking across with us. This year, we all had Miss Mag's class together, and that's probably my favorite class of the year too, because that kid made it a lot better.
He would do things that you wouldn't even think you were allowed to do in school, and that kid was crazy. I remember one time when he photoshopped himself into a picture of a car. Like, you can't, don't do that, Chris. You're just asking for trouble, man. We're gonna get at you for doing that. You know, even though you're gone, we're still probably gonna get at you for doing that stuff. And how can I leave without mentioning Grind Time Part 2? He's trying to make a mixtape that didn't even have a Part 1 to it. Chris Powers, everybody, Chris Powers. A round of applause for him, please. There will never be another one like him. And it's really sad that he's gone. I think he will be the most missed person we have in our hearts right now. And it's just a shame that he won't be able to grow up with us like we were all supposed to. Thank you.
Without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through, that I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. It was small, turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost.